Hello everyone, we're back again with another YouTube video. I know it's kind of a surprise to do, two of them in one day, or so on and so forth. I don't know how much I'm going to upload out all at once. Hopefully a little bit more than usual so that you guys get to see all of the mocks that I've been sitting here piling up on the screen. As you can see way up here, there's a whole bunch of them. Some of which need to be uploaded, some of which don't. So today we'll be taking a look at the FNP-9, otherwise known as the P-9 from Rainbow Six Siege. This is the rendered version inside of Studio's new EyeSight renderer. You can see that there's a couple of different pieces missing on the side. That was because it wasn't inside of Studio at the time. If I come back and I redo it, I can get those pieces because they are now within Studio. It's just at the time they weren't. So I don't plan on re-rendering this because this is a pretty complete render, but for now, this is what we have as a render. Like I said, this gun is from Rainbow Six Siege. This is the sidearm of choice for a majority of the GIGN operators, the Gendarmerie, the France anti-terrorist group, basically, or anti-terrorist group, counter-terrorist group. This is one of the first pistols that I've done where a lot of techniques were employed to get pretty much everything down as accurate as possible. Most of the slide is made up out of brackets. Most of the frame is made up out of brackets up here down at the top. And a lot of the grip is turned on its side or upside down to get all of the different angles and techniques that I wanted to use employed into the gun itself. So first things first, let's actually drop the slide. So we can do this simply by taking our magazine release, or our slide release here, and moving it down. It's a little finicky, but once it's down, then the actual slide can slide forward. So let's grab the group for that because there's different colors and stuff like that. It's trying to load templates, but we should be able to come in and grab this like so. And then we can drag it forward and it'll slide up across the guide rod as it's supposed to until it stops at the front. And then we have our wonderful FNP-9. So something really cool is that you can just kind of do this back and forth as you go. It's almost like shooting. Anyhow, this was a really fun build, and I built this for the GIGN operators because we were working on that. Most recently, Monty. We're actually finished with his loadout, so we can move on to the next ones, but this is part of it. So if we go ahead and we cock this slide back, you can see that up through the actual magazine well, you can see just a little white space up here. That's because that is the top of the chamber shell ejection port. So you can see straight through it like you're supposed to. So you would load a magazine up in here at an angle and it would run into this magazine release, which is pretty standard Christopher Hopman style magazine release. You simply push in on this and this side pops out and it will allow your magazine to drop free, as it should. The back end of this pistol strap is using all of these curved bricks at a slight curve, basically, almost like an S shape. Almost to give it just nice, comfortable, rounded shapes. On the front here, we use the standard angles that we usually use, except they're flipped upside down. And then we actually use hinge pieces to set up an angle going on here so that we can have these grill plates on the front to serve as the kind of checkering that you would find on the actual model itself. You can see the trigger guard comes and wraps up in between parts of the grip over here. And it wraps up and ends in a nice little smooth curve that comes up inside where the actual trigger is, brick-built trigger. And we're curved back down, back and forth. This whole geometry area right here was really fun to try to make, and it worked out really well. On this side, we have the actual safety. It's on both sides, as you can see, one here, one here. This is not ambidextrous, but it is. They're not interconnected at all. So if I move this one's not going to move, but it still serves because it is here on the actual model itself. So these do move up and down, just like our slide release moves up and down. And then in the front here, we do have our disassembly pen. This does move as well, but it doesn't actually disassemble the gun. So it's just here for aesthetic purposes. If we put the slide back forward, which I guess we can't, so that's interesting. So let's just grab this real quick and put it back forward. You can see that we do have a little bit of overlap here on the slide, where this kind of necks down in the front, where the guide rod is, where the spring is. And we do have a little bit of a rail going on down here. We have our, what are these called? I'm going to call them grooves, but that's not what they're called. But basically we have our area where we can grip the gun itself to cock the slide. We have our hammer and our firing pin, so you can just drop the hammer on top of this if it wants to work with me. Sometimes it doesn't. This would slide in underneath there, obviously. So you can actually cock back the hammer. And then we have our barrel, our guide rod, and our chamber. So if we go ahead and cock this back, you can see that the chamber is somewhat open. So it kind of simulates being able to load around into it. And then we have our barrel, pretty simple, and our guide rod, also pretty simple. And that is the FNP-9 from Rainbow Six Siege. Pretty happy with this gun. Really enjoy it, pretty simple. One of my first pistols that I've built that I put in a lot of effort to, but I think overall looks pretty nice. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to comment and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. I will see you guys later in another YouTube video. Thanks so much for watching.